and welcome to another edition of On the Tourism Trail. I'm your host, Pamela Martin, and today we are truly on the trail. We are here at the Mount Travers Heritage Site at Pinneys Beach, and we're actually going to do a hike today. We have our tour guide with us, Ervin Weekes, and our friend here, Yolanda Castro, who will be coming along with us. So join us today as we go on the trail.
The good thing about Nevis is the fact that we can actually start at sea level, work your way up, loop, and come back to sea level. So we're literally starting at sea level, like we're just right here. So this trail will take you up to about just over 900 feet, just about 1,000 feet. And you can see everything there is to do in a rainforest just by stepping up. So now this area is the Pinneys wetlands. Before time you would have had a lot of palm trees, a lot of coconut trees, but in the early 2000s we had the lethal yellowing that really wiped out all the palm trees in this area. Before it was sugar plantation, and then afterwards it was a coconut plantation. I've heard stories of folks coming down to collect the coconut shells to cook with. One gentleman told me I went on a hike and he's like, yo, this bring back memories because I remember I used to come down here. My mom used to send me with a crocus bag and I used to just buy a crocus bag of coconut shells for 10 cents. And that's what we used to cook on. So I was like, coconut shells? He was like, yeah. And then we used to see the copper drain, that's the coconut drain for oil. Mm-hmm. That was a major export here in Nevis as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this now is part of the Pinneys wetlands. This is the upper part of the Pinneys wetlands, and this is just fed by a gut that comes straight from off the mountain all the way down. So there's always constant water running down.
Even though it's been dry?
In the dry season, the water level drops, but there's still water running. And that feeds the pond and everything down at Sunshines. The whole, from Pinneys South all the way to Sunshines, that pond, that wetland, is fed by this stream. The road as well is cobblestone. Mm-hmm. So you're walking on cobblestone in some areas.
So who takes care of the trail right now?
The trail is maintained by the owner of the Mount Travers property. Okay. So we do have work guys that come and they'll cut grass. Okay. They'll clear the sides of the trail.
So he just allows it to be used.
Yeah, as yes.
Okay. Right. So how often would you do a hike?
As often as possible. During the tourist season, like when we have cruise ships and stuff in, you do find that I would hike every day, almost. Mm-hmm. An average 30 guests, 40 guests. So you find that it's something that people really love. And it's something that our local people don't really know that we have, but the tourists who come love to hike Nevis, We just crossed over the main bridge. I don't know if you noticed. Oh, yes. But this is an arch bridge right here. If you can see, the stream is coming right under here. And this bridge that you see here, there's no steel, there's no cement. It's just volcanic rock and lime. And it's been sitting here for centuries. So it's just the ingenuity of these guys and what they did here. This is a good form of exercise. I try hike as much as possible. On average, I'll do like 8,000, 7,000 steps every morning before, going to work for my regular job. So I like to hike like 6, 7:30 in the morning.
Right, when it's cooler.
It's a little bit cooler. Right now you're feeling the heat because we're now heading into the dry season. Right. So you'll find, it's a little bit more hot, but during the wet season, like during the rainy season, it's an amazing hike. Nice and cool, little drizzle every now and then. Right. So we're going up now to the main entrance house here at Mount Travers. And also you'll see my favorite tree on Nevis, one of the oldest trees on Nevis, one of the most unique trees on Nevis. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. This one you guys to see. This is a baobab tree. It's estimated from 1859. So it's like 160 years old, something like that. And this is one of the largest tree in Nevis, one of 4 on the island. So this is one of the oldest tree and the largest tree on the island. And they can live up to 1,000 years old. And I've hiked with people from... Yeah, this is a tree.
It doesn't feel like a tree. It just feels, I don't know, it feels
In parts of
almost not real, you know?
in parts of Africa, this is the central part of a village. And everything that's done is held, in importance is held under this tree. In some areas, people actually live inside, hollow them out and live inside. In some areas, they also would hollow from top and they'll use them as a natural cistern. So they'll store water. Yeah, they'll store water during the rainy season and then they'll just use the water after that. Right? The story about the baobab tree, why it looks like this, there's a story say that the devil played a trick on this tree. He yanked it out of the ground, flipped it upside down and stuck it back in. So that's why you find the branches look like roots.
Wow.
And
Interesting story.
you find this tree will get green during the dry season. So you feel like now it's going to the dry season, you start throwing out leaves. And during the rainy season, it will just look naked.
That's back to front, Ervin.
Yeah, no.
Everything about this
But, and then of course you have the Mount Travers gatehouse. Now, what's unique about this building is the fact that we have a banyan tree growing off of it right here. When they did a lot of drying of coconuts and stuff like that, you'll find this area would have been the area where they would have laid out the coconuts to dry. They'll cut them open in 2 halves and they'll let them out to dry. The sun now will dry the nut and then it will just loosen itself from the shell. And they'll just pop that out and they'll use that to make oil. That now will just be cold press.
Okay, I've heard that. Yeah, there's a couple of ways of
Yeah,
doing the oil.
you can squeeze the milk and boil it off.
Right.
But there's always a chance of burning it.
Okay.
That's why you find it has that burnt smell because it must be a balance of heat. Or you can just let it dry natural and then you squeeze the oil out of it, what we call a cold press. So that's where you find like you have cold press and virgin cold pressed coconut oil. So there's no process of it.
So people who produce coconut oil right now, do they do the same thing? They split the coconuts and leave them out to dry?
Some do that. Some would actually dry it in like say a dehydrator or something like that. Some would just squeeze the milk, which is an easier process. You squeeze the milk and then you just boil it off and then you constantly scoop and then you scoop off the coconut oil. But that was one of the major exports here in Nevis.
Coconut oil.
Yeah, coconut. And as you can see, one disease wiped out everything. So now we're actually importing coconut. But the government has just introduced, I think, about 4,000 coconut tree at the Newcastle fruit orchard.
To replant.
Yeah,
and start
so
the process over.
some farmers got some, and there are some planted at the fruit orchard at Indian Castle. So it's an active
Alright,
effort.
it's an ongoing process to bring them
back in, and those are strain resistant. Those would be resistant to the actual
really?
lethal yellowing.
Okay.
You know, so
that's a good move.
That's a good move.
It's a good move.
So since 1818, this building been standing here. Of course, it has a chimney in it and everything. And I've seen some buildings built in the 2000s and the 19s, and they're already falling apart. So that's just to show you the ingenuity of these. And like I said, and what I love about this, you touching it, you must understand how forebearers cut each one of these stones by hand.
Yes.
So these, and I often tell people, my guests, that why I love to touch these is because it's a direct connection to ancestors, because each one was cut and fit and placed.
Precision.
Precision.
With precision, so that there was no measuring tools or anything like that. They just use their eyes and what have you,
And
and
this
make
is
sure that they fit together.
and this is one of the reasons why I especially like to bring local people on these trails, because we pass them and we don't know what we have. You know, some people say we take it for granted, but it's the fact that we don't know
That's it.
what's there. It's right. So this is one of the reasons I've taken like school groups,
Right.
church groups. You know,
Nice.
it's a tourist package, but I think that you know
Yeah,
it's
you have to know
better.
your heritage.
You got to know your
Right.
heritage. You know.
That's right.
So
Wonderful.
shall we move on?
Yeah.
Further? All right, cool. This is just our first stop. Watch it. This is what you call a pedestal or stoop down. You remember back in the day, it would have been a horse or a carriage.
Oh.
So when you pull up to the gate, this is where you dismount,
Oh.
and then you step down, and then you park your chance right here.
Tree.
Sandbox tree, it's called possum wood. In some areas, it's called monkey no climb, because a monkey will not climb on this thing here. Yeah, and it has spikes all the way down to the leaves. It's fully protected. And the reason why it has these spikes on it is to tell every and anybody to stay away. All right? The sap from the bark and stuff like that can actually
Poisoner.
poisonous. You know, they used to use the sap to poison darts, and they'll shoot an animal and then they'll just follow it, because that animal will just
Would
get sick.
eventually-
It wouldn't kill it, it will just get sick and
Oh,
weak.
okay.
So they'll just follow it,
Okay.
right? But one of the reasons why this tree has all these spikes that tell you stay away is because of the fruit that's on it. We use that when it's green to make like wheels. Remember we used to make sandbox
Yes.
cart? So they used to use them as wheels, because they get real knobby. They're round like a tractor tire.
Yes.
So they get real knobby. So we used to make sandbox cart from cat wheels from them, right?
Like in the-
Claiming is to get them, we used to be in, you know, you trust stone or you get a stick to pick them.
Oh, okay.
But one of the reasons, well, that same sandbox fruit, when it gets dry, because this tree wouldn't have an animal or a bird or anything will eat the seed and disperse the seed. The way it disperses the seed is to explode. So that's why it's called a dynamite tree as well. So in order for it to disperse its seed, when the seed get dry, it'll explode. But you have to be very careful. If it was any on this, I wouldn't be standing under here, because it can explode and it can travel up to 150 to 180 miles an hour. If that catch you in your eye or anywhere else, it can just lacerate you deep, because they'll fly almost like almost like a little boomerang type shell, because you just spread to a little flat thing and then that will just fly off. But I'm not seeing any right now.
So wouldn't this be a good tree for farmers to have on their land to keep the monkeys out, or is that not something that they?
No, this will throw so much shade on your land, right?
Oh,
That
okay.
nothing will grow under it.
Okay, so I'm just thinking because of the monkeys. But
No, monkeys. Oh, let's have some guests. Get some shot. So you find that you wouldn't want to plant this on your land, because this will just it will just throw so much shade on your property. Hi guys. Ah, don't worry about it, man. How was it? You made it all the way up?
No, we got just past the one gate on the right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Good enough.
good, stay warm.
All right, bless. All right. Take care. All right? All right. And you see, this trail is used. People used to drive up here and dump stuff. You had an issue where people would just come and they would just pull off and drop the garbage and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why the gate was down here, because this is one of the most preserved heritage trails.
you can see that it just looks amazing.
And Mount Travers, unlike the rest plantation, like say the Hermitage and the Montpeliers that were developed, and this was just abandoned. So
nothing
everything,
else was built on it.
nothing else was built on it,
constructed anywhere.
nothing. So it was just abandoned. So the history is still there laying under all these trees. The walls are still here. This would have had 4-foot wall all the way up along this pathway. This was a private driveway. The Pinnies were aristocrat planters. They had the money. They were able to have camels on this. Nevis had camels here.
And you know, somebody told me today that Nevis had camels. Where was it? Wasn't it the picture we saw your land? Didn't we see?
Reggie,
Oh yeah.
Reggie
Cyclist.
Douglas, he's one of those guys who got me started.
Oh.
You know, when I started out, it was with him, and that's when the Russell Rest Trail was really getting popular. And he's like, "Hey man, come on with me,
Okay.
clean the trail."
Right.
We used to maintain the trail. Thankfully now we have park rangers here in Nevis. So they do maintain the trails now. After a heavy downpour, maybe a hurricane or a storm or anything, those are the guys who would go now, assess the trail, give the clear if necessary, point out hazards,
Okay.
change ropes and stuff like that. So I really appreciate,
Wow.
the park service because they take a lot off the guides,
Right.
you know what I mean? So
Right.
that's one thing that we find is a plus here in Nevis. There's Montpellier. You see that dry stone wall at Montpellier?
Yeah.
And you see Hermitage dry stone wall?
Yeah.
This would have been the wall.
Okay.
all the
All
way.
around.
Now, the reason for this wall was to part off the land in different, maybe 2 acres plot, 3-acre plot. So then you stagger plant. So when you reap, they'll stagger reap as well. On the walls also, the children would have, kids of the slaves, their job was to pick stones. So as you clean the land, as you till the soil, whatever stone you get, you put it on the wall. So if you actually go and dig inside there now, there's hardly any stones in there.
So they pick the stones why to to reinforce the wall?
Pick stone or something to do. You clear all the rocks and everything out of the land.
Oh,
where you
after the
plant.
land.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was their job until they can do
okay.
heavy work. So you pick stones every day.
Okay.
And thus the wall. And I tell people this wall here was built by hand as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The cobblestone. And I explained to guests, I say, each one of these stone that you see here, if you realize like that, unlike now where you drop down stone and you put a big roller over it and you roll it down, these were actually placed and fit, each one individually. Wow. If you hold this, I'll show you guys something that's... Tell me if you know this.
I'm getting scared already.
No, don't be scared. Tell me if you know that. Smell it. Sassy. They're using sassy.
Oh yes, sarsaparilla.
You find it in sarsaparilla. You know what this is? You ever hear about kakangaroo?
Oh, kangaroo.
Yeah. So this is kakangaroo right
What was it used for? Just
It-
for flavouring drinks?
You use for you could flavor drinks. Also, it's good for the man, the beetle. It's straighten the man. So
Really?
yeah, this is a good tonic. In Jamaica and stuff, this is what you call roots. They'll make a roots wine from it. You find this in most people soak like hamon, or my grandmother used to just soak it with like rubbing alcohol or green alcohol to give that nice smell to it. So this is kakangaroo.
I've heard about that. Oh my gosh, years ago. You said my father talking about kangaroo, and I've never heard, seen it. How did you recognize it?
You have to know the vine. So this is the vine right here.
Okay.
But people, there's 2 of them. There's one, this one, and then there's this one. The people have confused the 2.
Oh,
But
these leaves are very small.
Yes, but the kakangaroo, you have to see that hinge. You have to look at the leaves.
Oh, the little hinge.
The leaves have the little hinge there, so, and they have this color there. The rest wouldn't have, and then the leaves are different.
Yeah. Guess if you know what you're
Yeah.
looking for.
So you have to know what you're looking for. But
So
they-
do people still use the root now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had some the other day, so I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And so it grows just wild like everywhere.
yeah. And you find when you find stuff like these on these plantations, you must understand that for our forebearers, medical was never afforded to them.
True.
And they were planters. You remember they were brought here because they were farmers.
Yeah.
So they had to plant everything. Their food, they had to plant their medicine. So you find on these plantations, you'll find medicine still going through here. Also, you'll still find food going through here. So it's here still. You remember the original
Now I recognize, what's this one called?
kanki bush, or the
What?
kanki leaf.
Oh, for
for-
Easter.
Yeah, forbidden lettuce. So you feel the
Yes,
texture
I
of this?
recognize it.
This is the original kanki bush. And this will, yeah, this is the original. This is what they used to cook
Yeah.
kanki in. People come up here and get this. They get real huge, right? So, you know, you steam it a bit and then you drop your mix in there. You know, our blend was grated coconut, pumpkin, sweet potato. If you feel fancy, you drop in some carrots, a little chili or ginger for that. A little flour to get a little stiff.
Oh, cornmeal.
Cornmeal. Some people use cornmeal or flour. Some people use yolk or like cassava to give it that stiff, right? And then you put it in. This would be steam.
Mm-hmm.
So in one fold, one fold, one fold, one fold. Then you tie it
Tie it.
and you boil it. Now my grandmother would eat it through the leaves. She never actually peel it. When she do it in the kanki bush, she would just
So you would eat the bush.
you just eat it.
So it's edible.
It's edible, right? The more tender.
But
the
now
leaf.
we
Now-
use banana leaves.
We use banana leaves now, and there's some people who use foil paper, which doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't have that.
But this will give it its unique flavor. The banana
And
leaf.
so kanki is what? Is it a dessert? What is it, like a patty?
It's
Is
a
it-
meal. It's a full
It's
meal.
a meal.
It's a full meal.
And you find this is something that was brought from Africa. In different islands, they call it different things.
Right.
You find in some areas they'll use just the cornmeal and maybe meat. Here we we eat it during the Easter period because you find that's the period of Lent.
And there's no meat in
There's
it.
no meat.
Okay.
So you find everything you need to sustain you would be in one meal. And this is something that you can just go with.
Take
And
with
it has a long shelf life as well. You can have this for a couple of days just sitting there. And it's good to go. So kanki. I haven't had kanki in a couple of years since my auntie died. I haven't eaten kanki since.
I think I had a little taste this Easter.
Yeah. So
It's an acquired taste, I would say.
depends on who
Depend
do
on
it.
who you, yeah.
It's not everybody have the
That.
that
The
yeah.
kanki touch.
Because it's a texture thing as well. It can't be too stiff, can't be too soft. And if your coconut and something that grated properly, you get that gritty in it. It must be a balance. All right, so kanki bush.
Great.
Also, if you're in the bush and you need to go to the bathroom, it's very soft.
That
You
was
can
it.
feel it. It's
Yeah.
very nice, and you get lots of
Clean it-
wipes
clean
out
it
of
soft.
one leaf. Very clean. Also, it makes nice shelter as well. Cause they get real huge. These leaves can get about that big. Right.
Shade.
So shade as well. All right. Here as well, you'll find this. I want you to smell that. Just squeeze it and smell it. Yolanda will remember these.
Oh, citrusy.
Yeah. It's called a cherry lime.
Cherry lime. I love the smell.
Yeah, it's very.
Nice. Very
And
fresh.
it's used. The fragrance is used for perfume.
Mm.
The leaves, although that smell citrus, the flower smells like lavender.
Oh, so it's a
So
blend
the
of
flower,
citrus
yes,
sweet.
yeah. And also we used to
like
use these when we were younger, when you go to school, primary school, and the teachers to come and check your nails
Uh-huh.
and make sure you're.
Oh, they'll whiten your nails.
Yeah, and your little ashy elbow and thing.
Mhm.
You put this on, and you bring a nice shine to your ashy areas. So it's natural.
Wow.
But you find these were planted on plantations not because of the fragrance or anything, but it was a natural barbed wire.
Gotcha.
So you find these along the walls and along pathways, and you find that the spikes on it will prevent anybody from going through.
Wow.
You find like the older Anglican churches and stuff like that would have them along the
So
fence.
is this used now still, as in the berry?
No,
Not really.
not here. All right. Now this would have been a pathway going through here. Right? It's now a trail, but if you look, that side is a wall and that
Oh,
side is a
yeah,
wall.
yeah.
It was just wide enough for a cat. And this will take you from the Mount Travers Road or the Penis Road to the Belmont Road. And that was another road that goes straight up to the top of the mountain as well. So they will just intersect by these little pathways. And you can still see it here. You can still see the walls here. You can still see it.
Definitely.
So you remember the milkweed as well. This is something people used to plant popular along fence line, along pathways as well.
Oh, to keep people out.
Yeah, it stays green no matter what. You know what this is? Stinking toy.
Locust.
Locust. You never had a locust? Never had a stinking toe locust? All right, when we go down by the tree, I'm gonna pick one. So Pam, this is locust or stinking toe, right? Now it's called stinking toe is because it's smell. Inside of here is a nice custard powdery substance, but you find has a really hard shell. So in order to get to this, you need one of these, right? Now Yolanda will know about this because we grew up eating this. So this is what you eat right here. You need some water, so just take a little piece. It's a little piece and try it.
I'll throw away my seeds.
Very powdery.
Very powdery. So I grew up eating these as well.
Yep.
So locust, West Indian locust. Some are
had
sweeter
one
than
of
some.
Has a slight vanilla-ish taste. Slight
And the
vanilla.
bigger ones have a little bit more, but the smell is what people couldn't get past. That's what.
Oh! Yeah, it smells horrid.
It's a while.
Fascinating. I have never ever seen that,
it is.
I have to say, and I've never heard
Really?
of it. No,
Really?
never.
You find the monkey would bite them when they're young. That's the only time that they can get access to them. So the monkey would eat them when they're young because the leaves are, the shell will be a little bit softer.
Oh, so they
but
could-
once they turn brown like this,
They can't get
you
into
can't
it.
get to them because it's real hard. It's rock hard. Right?
So is that the what should I say, the scientific name, stinking toe?
No, it's West Indian locust.
Okay.
But locally we call them stinking toe.
West Indian locust.
Nowhere but my island right here, right here, right here. We live the Caribbean. Nowhere but my island right here, right here, right here. We live the Caribbean.
This program is sponsored by the Bank of Nevis Limited. Thank you, the Bank of Nevis.
Banking is now an essential part of our life. That's why the Bank of Nevis Limited is making life easier for all of our customers. As a bond customer, waiting in line is a thing of the past. Deposit checks or cash at any one of our Charlestown ATMs today. Short on funds? No problem. It's easy making withdrawals using your Bond Visa debit card. Experience how much easier life can be with just one swipe of your debit card. Whether it's online or in store, we've got you covered. Easy and delicious. Now that's a great combo. We fully understand that sometimes life can get hectic. Log on to Bond's online banking platform and with just a click, you can save the day by easily transferring funds from your savings to your checking account. Just like that. And your funds are transferred in real time. Perfect. With a single swipe of your debit card or a few clicks for online banking, The Bank of Nevis Limited will continue to improve the quality of your life so you can continue to live your best life. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.